Hello and welcome to this Folk on Foot Front Room Festival. I'm Matthew Bannister, the host of the Folk on Foot podcast, and a big thanks to John McCusker for kicking things off in style. I'm here in my front room in a little village called Amberley in West Sussex, nestling under the South Downs. And perhaps you're in your front room too, watching me and waiting for the music to begin. And I just wanted to say a word about how this festival came into being, because it all started at King's Place, where we were doing an event with Nancy Kerr and James Fagan, Martin Simpson and Eliza Carthy in the middle of March. And it was the last weekend before the shutdown of all the venues and the restaurants happened. And we knew it was looming, and I could see the concern and the stress and the worry on the faces of those performers as they looked ahead to a time when the gigs that they depend on for their income were just going to be taken away from them for an indefinite time, for nobody knows when it's all going to come back. And I began to think about what we could do to try to help them. So I got in touch with a lot of the artists who've walked with me on the Folk on Foot podcast and asked them if they'd like to join together in a front room festival to raise funds for Help Musicians UK, which is the charity which supports musicians when they're in financial hardship, and of course to get a fair return for themselves too. And you, through your generosity, have raised an astonishing amount of money. And I can't thank you enough on behalf of all the musicians who are going to benefit from it. It's just blown me away that you have been so generous, so kind, and so supportive of this project. So what have we got for you this afternoon? It's a bit of a marathon. I've got some snacks in. I hope you've got some refreshments as well, because this is going to go on for 7.5 hours. And I'm going to read you the lineup because I have to keep pinching myself when I look at the list. I'll just read it out to you in the order in which they're going to be performing on this festival. And we're going to kick off in a moment with Beth Porter and the Bookshop Band. Then it's Martin Simpson, Karine Polwart, Jon Boden, Bella Hardy, Sam Lee, Lisa Knapp, Kris Drever, Kerry Andrew, Jackie Morris, the artist, is joining us, Rachel Newton, Nancy Kerr and James Fagan, Peggy Seeger, Seth Lakeman, Julie Fowlis, and Steve Knightley. And I have to say, it's priceless, isn't it? I mean, there are not many festivals that could afford a lineup like that, and yet these artists have all come together to show solidarity with each other and with other musicians, and to provide you with a brilliant piece of entertainment this afternoon. So, shall we kick off? Let's get going. Let's go to Scotland and join Beth Porter.
For those of you who don't know, Ben and I we are the Bookshop Band, and we write songs inspired by books. That's what we've been doing for about 10 years. And now we live in the book town of Scotland, which is Wigtown. But we were lucky enough to be asked to play for the launch of Robert Macfarlane's book, Underland, which if you haven't read it yet and you have access to a copy, I would definitely go ahead and read it. It's definitely a story of our time, but also of deep time, this kind of sense of something much bigger than us, which I think possibly we're getting that sense a little bit now.
Underground, a piece of bronze to weigh me down, a hand above to pull me out. I stumble through the darkest time, deep time. On winds the starless river, lost to our eyes. Dead, I feel alive, dive in. If you see me weep a million tears, a billion years, from terror to warmth in the twist of a tunnel, a crack in the eyes, it could all come tumbling, hiding from the world around. A little Elsie's underground, a piece of bronze to weigh me down, a hand above to pull me out. Through pain and power and violent shadows, emerge, return, and cover the sadness. Sometimes we bury to forget the past, sometimes we shelter what matters the most, sometimes we need to block out the ghosts, ghosts, ghosts. Below, beyond our time, always leaving light behind. No one to hear you shout, hiding from the world around. A little Elsie's underground, a piece of bronze to weigh me down, a hand above to pull me out, hiding from the world around. A little Elsie's underground, a piece of bronze to weigh me down, a hand above to pull me out, hiding from the world around. A little Elsie's underground, a piece of bronze to weigh me down, a hand above to pull me out. Spring in spring, above the reflection, the brighter sun, the water runs, 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 runs. Leave a mark to tell my children's 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 child. Bury the fear, the fight, so we don't wipe them out. Running through the world around, a little boy sees overground, a fleeting thought to weigh me down, a hand below to pull me out.
Good afternoon and welcome to the Front Room Folk Festival. Well, we're all inside at the moment, so I think it'd be good to sing some outside songs about the wide world. And this is one that I wrote starting on April the 11th of 2014. And I wrote it starting in Devon. April sun on Slapton Lea, between the lagoon and the haunted sea. I was thinking of war and cruelty, when spring's first swallow split the sky, and I was lifted above all care as the swallow swung through the salted air, come from savannah and desert and sea to mark another year for me. A sailor's tattoo like a prayer on my arm to bring me home and safe from harm. The rocks may melt and seas may burn, dark, swift and bright swallow shall always return. Bright swallow, sweet spirit of stockyard and barn, you lighten our days with all of your charms. Bring hope to the sailor upon the wide sea, and mark another year for me. Swift scythe and scream through the city dust, late to come and first to leave, but come they do and leave they must. Hot August nights their absence grieve, and how we miss their impudent glee. This devil's bitch, this mystery, this sprite that sleeps upon the breeze and flies and feeds behind the storm. April sun on Slapton Lea, between the lagoon and the haunted sea. I was thinking of war and cruelty, when spring's first swallow split the sky, and I was lifted above all care as the swallow swung through the salted air, come from savannah and desert and sea to mark another year for me. Then for you, my love, and eternity.
Thank you very much indeed, Martin. Now, of course, Martin's front room is in Sheffield, which is the city where I was born and brought up. And when I think of Sheffield, I always think of my lovely mum, who sadly died in 2018. And I put these clogs out here on the desk in front of me to remind me of her, because she was a great dancer when she was a little girl, and she won lots of certificates and medals. And these were the clogs that were specially made for her to do clog dancing when she was a little girl growing up in Sheffield. And they always remind me of her. They always remind me of happy times with her and of her dancing around the kitchen. Even when she was in her 80s, she used to do a bit of a tap dance in the kitchen if she got carried away. So it makes me think of Mum. And of course, in these times of isolation, we all think of our families. And I'm really missing my contact with my son Joe, and my daughter Jessica, and her husband Pete, and my two little grandchildren, Theo, who's nearly 4, and Elsie, who's nearly 2. And we've been doing all the FaceTiming stuff that you do, and I'm sure you've been doing that too. But it's not the same as cuddling up on the sofa to read a book together. So I put this mug out here to remind me of Theo, because this is a mug that he painted for me, and it says Papa on here, which is what he calls me. I think he had a bit of help with the lettering from his dad, and he put his name on the bottom. So I'm sending my lots of love to Theo and Elsie and Jess and Pete and Joe, and thinking of you at this time, as we all are thinking of our families. Let's go now to Scotland, to Midlothian, south of Edinburgh, to meet a wonderful singer, songwriter, theatre maker and storyteller.
A very warm welcome to you this Easter Monday from Pathhead, Midlothian, half an hour southeast of Edinburgh. My name's Karine Polwart, and a big thanks to Folk on Foot for organising this front room festival. I'm going to bring you into my front room here, leaving behind my very messy kitchenette. This is my front room, and I'll introduce you to a few things as we go. Some instruments that you'll meet in a moment. Up here on the wall, some pictures, including a couple by the wonderful Jackie Morris. Lots and lots of birds, including bird curtains handmade by my mum, beautifully lined. Fantastic work. View out my front window. Gretsch guitar, that's going to get a wee outing as well. Up here above the piano, which I will not play for you. I'll spare you that because my son and daughter play much better than I do. Frida Kahlo and Michael Mara up there on the wall by Gillian Gamble. Some reading. Yeah, this is my front room. I've been part of a beautiful project called Spell Songs that I know some of you are aware of. 5 of my 7 musical compadres on Spell Songs, Julie Fowlis, Kris Drever, Rachel Newton, Beth Porter and Kerry Andrew have all been guests of Folk on Foot. I think all or most of them are offering sets for today's Front Room Festival. And a wee wave to Sekou Keita and Jim Molyneux as well, and to Jackie Morris and Robert McFarlane who inspired that project. I'm going to sing one song from that project to close in a moment, but before then, Jackie Morris embodied each of the musicians involved in that project as a creature, and well, what she said specifically was that we were the spirit embodiment of the creatures rather than they being spirit animals or any such thing. And this is how she represented me as a wee wren, which totally delighted me. We have wrens in our garden, and I love wrens, and this is inspired by some lore around the wren. The wren in old tale is the king of birds. It trumps the eagle in a flying competition by means of its diminutive size and wit and guile. And this is a song inspired by Christopher Wren, a nod to St Paul's Cathedral, which he designed. And I will send it out to the City of London at the moment because I am well aware that to live in the middle of a huge city like London is a much more stressful and claustrophobic experience than to live in a village like Pathhead. And what's happening right now affects all of us, but my heart is actually quite sore for London. So a wee bit of a blessing on London. This is the King of Birds. At Ludgate Hill, on the cracked and blackened cobbles of the town, the ashes fall to rest as the tiny King of Birds he flutters down to build a citadel to lay glory in the dark, and from hell to breathe hope in every heart. you very much for joining me in my front room this afternoon. I have just one more song for you, and it's a song from Spell Songs. I wrote it with all my project bandmates, and it's called The Lost Words Blessing, and it's drawn from the words and images of Robert Macfarlane and Jackie Morris, whose beautiful book The Lost Words is kind of a hymn to the natural world around us. And I know for many of us, we're perhaps noticing things that we haven't noticed as acutely or attentively as we might otherwise have done. I certainly am. I'm really noticing everything that's alive in my garden, and my daughter is keeping a log of all the birds that arrive in the back, and we've had greenfinches and goldfinches and wrens and dunnocks and sparrows, and it's been amazing. This blessing, this blessing I offer to all of you on behalf of the Spell Songs crew, and I wish you all very well and hope you're enjoying the music. Okay, take care.
Let the raven call
here's to the baker, I must bring him in. Charges tuppence a loaf, and he'll think it no sin. When he do bring it in, it's no bigger than your fist, and the top of the loaf is popped off with the yeast. And honesty's all out of fashion. These are the rigs of the times, my boys. These are the rigs of the times. And here's to the butcher, I must bring him in. Charges sixpence a pound, but he'll think it no sin. Slaps his hand on the scale weight to make it go down. He'll swear it's good weight when it wants half a pound. And honesty's all out of fashion. These are the rigs of the times, my boys. These are the rigs of the times. And here's to the tailor who skimps on our clothes, and the shoemaker who pinches our toes, so our bellies go empty, our backsides go bare. It's no wonder we've reason to curse and to swear that honesty is all out of fashion. These are the rigs of the times, my boys. These are the rigs of the times. Come tumbling down first, and honesty's all out of fashion. And these are the rigs of the times, my boys. These are the rigs of the times. Quite strange, I have to say, trying to perform with nobody here, apart from a reflection of myself in a phone, which is I'm trying to not look at because it's a bit weird. Anyway, that was that's a traditional song called "The Rigs of the Time," and it's a song about unscrupulous traders making extortionate profits out of everyday goods in a time of national emergency. I did consider writing a verse about hand sanitizer, but I struggled for rhymes, to be honest, so that was that. I hope you're all doing okay and keeping safe and keeping sane, and just to thank everyone who's been to see me live over the last few years. It's events like this make you really appreciate, I think, how wonderful it is really to be able to earn a living out of people, making the effort to come out of their houses and come and see you live at a gig and pay money to do that. It's great. So thank you so much to everyone who's done that, and to, of course, everyone who's bought an album. And I really appreciate your your support. I mean, the old word, I suppose, is if you think about musicians through the ages, the old word was patronage. You'd try and get patronage from, a lord or a king or whatever. But I very much think of you all as my patrons, well, my boss, really. I think of you all as my boss. So thank you for my job, basically. And I'm going to finish off with this one. This is from Songs from the Floodplain. It's a song about getting through hard times and making the most of what we've got, and so thanks again for watching and for listening, and take care. Reapers in the whitened harvest, beggar on the hill, doctor, lawyer, preacher, swallowing a bitter pill, pilgrims on the road to glory, hear the cynic's drowning cries, redemption's dream forsaken, drifting in the clearing skies. From the fool to the wise man, from the floodplain to the dam. When hard times come knocking, we do what we can. Distant figures on the mountain, whispers on the breeze, false prophet warnings, heralding our disease. From the fool to the wise man, from the floodplain to the dam. Hard times come knocking, we do what we can. Take the seeds out to the garden and sow them in the soil. Split the word we gathered, happy when we toil. From the fool to the wise man, from the floodplain to the dam. When hard times come knocking, we do what we can. From the fool to the wise man, from the floodplain to the dam. When hard times come knocking, we do what we can.
Thank you very much indeed, John. John lives in the Loxley Valley, just on the outskirts of Sheffield. It's an absolutely beautiful place. And one of the great things about this festival today is that we're taking you on a journey, and it's the way we do on our podcast too, on Folk on Foot, on a journey right round the United Kingdom. We've got people in Devon, in Topsham, in Dartmoor, Seth Lakeman coming up later. We've got a cluster of artists in London, Sam Lee in the east, Lisa Knapp and Kerry Andrew in the south. We've got Peggy Seeger in Iffley near Oxford. We've got all these people who are around Sheffield, including Nancy Kerr and James Fagan. And in Scotland, we're kind of spanning the whole country too, because we're going from Wigtown, you heard Beth Porter earlier, to Glasgow with Rachel Newton, to Midlothian with Karine Polwart, up to Inverness in the Highlands with Julie Fowlis, and then right north to Shetland with Kris Drever. So it's the entire length of Britain that you're going to experience on this festival today, which can't be bad. So where are we going next? We are going sort of round Sheffield to the south side and to the Peak District to meet Bella Hardy, who lives in the beautiful spot that is Edale.
Hello everybody. Welcome to my front room. I have a front room, I have a back room, and that is my whole expanse. So it's lovely to have you here and to be singing to you as part of the Folk on Foot Front Room Festival. So thank you to them for having me, and thank you to you for being here to watch. I'm going to tell you first about the wind that is flying around my little home in Edale in the Peak District today. It's a little bit windy, and there's gusts keep coming around and making fantastic noises, and also there is the romantic rattle of the extractor fan on my oven keeps getting blown by the wind. So look out for those exciting noises. You might also look out for the beast who's currently sleeping by my front door over here, which I'm quite glad about because he's been going bananas watching the leaves being blown around outside. That is my dog, Ted. Ted is a half collie, half spaniel little ball of madness who will be a year old next week. So he might come round and say hello at some point, but at the moment I'm not going to disturb him because he is perfectly sleeping by the door. I must apologise that I have a slight croak, but I'm fine. I'm doing fine, but I am a little hoarse. So do excuse me if I do croak at you occasionally. I shall keep sipping my water and I shall be all right. Lovely. I'm going to play you a song now that I have never recorded onto an album. I've known it all, well, since I was a teenager, I suspect. But I only started fiddle singing it last year, or the year before, on a solo tour I did. I thought, well, why not? I think I learnt it from the singing of the Silly Sisters, which was a great duo of June Tabor, along with Maddie Pryor. Can't beat that really, can you? So, this song is My Johnny Was a Shoemaker. Shoemaker, and did he love me? My Johnny was a shoemaker, but now he's gone to sea with pitch and tar to soil his hands, for to sail across the sea, the stormy sea, for to sail across the stormy sea. His jacket was a deep sky blue, and curly was his hair. His jacket was a deep sky blue, it was, I do declare, for to reef the topsail up against the mast, and to sail across the sea, the stormy sea, and to sail across the stormy sea. me. My Johnny was a shoemaker, and did he love me? My Johnny was a shoemaker, and now he's gone to sea with his pitch and tar to soil his hands, for to sail across the sea, stormy sea, for to sail across the stormy sea.
Thank you.
I'm just going to check on my fire, but I'm not catching a light in my room. This is the space that I've been living in for the last 2 weeks. I've basically not left this room bar for the kitchen and bathroom. So it's very lovely to welcome you into this room where all my music is made, all my books are read, all my thoughts are thought, and my little cocoon, which is proving its worth right now. And I've had the fire on for basically 2 weeks solid. I haven't switched the heating on, and it's been a very powerful moment. I hope you all listening are finding ingenious ways to center yourself and take solace and learning from this extraordinary place that we're in. Yeah, it's nice to share some songs. The funny thing is that being so alone like this and having no gigs and anything left in the diary and not being able to do the work that I usually do, it's sometimes easy to forget that I'm a musician, that I'm a singer, and that's what I do. But enough talking. I'm going to sing a song that comes from my current album. The album's called Old Wow. It came out in the end of January, and I would love you to hear it. And this is a song that I learnt from the singing of a woman called Frida Black, who's an English gypsy. She's 93 years old. She's living down in Hampshire. She's now in a nursing home. I went to visit her back in end of February, actually. I hadn't seen her for a long while, and she's very frail, but still singing old folk songs wonderfully. One songs that she's learnt through her family and oral tradition and the gypsy line. And this is it's a gypsy carol called The Moon Shines Bright, and it's a song that she had only fragments of. And it's a spiritual, it's a carol, it's a song about life and prayer and thanksgiving and the passage of life. But her version had degraded so much that it sort of gave opportunity for me to reinterpret it maybe as what I think of as a blessing song for today. It's a way of singing of all the things that we have, the choices that we make, the things that we should be grateful for. And it feels like a song like this is ever more purposeful right now, ever more relevant. So here is The Moon Shines Bright. The moon shines bright, and the stars give it light. In a little while it will be day. The voice of love, it calls upon us all, bids us awake and pray. Arise, arise, awake thee, arise, for life she is calling thee. I think think I've woken my daughter up, so I'm going to have to pause there.
One midsummer's evening, the sun going down, young Polly was walking by the side of a pond. She got under a shady tree, the showers to shine, with her apron wrapped around her head, as white as a swan. One midsummer's evening, oh, the sun was going down, young Jimmy was walking with his dog and his gun, down among those green rushes, as the evening come on. He shot his own true love in the room of a swan, down among those green rushes. He found it was she. His heart bled for sorrow, his eyes could not see. Crying, uncle, dear uncle, do you know what I've done? I've killed my own true love. Oh, where can I run? Well, up spoke his uncle, his locks turning grey, crying, Jimmy, oh Jimmy, don't you run away, don't you leave your own country till your trial do come on, for they never shall hang you if I sell all my corn on the day of his trial. Polly's ghost did appear Okay, welcome back to... No, it's not welcome back to you yet. It's still me, isn't it? I'm going to put the banjo down and wheel in the harmonium seamlessly. It's the first time I've done that Polly Vaughan song since last year at Glastonbury. Fond memories. So I've got a harmonium here. I don't think you can see it on the camera. Can you just bend the camera so they can see it?
Yeah. I'll move it. Okay.
Just show them. See the keys? They just saw the keys then. Anyway, just so that it's not like a phantom harmonium. But this is a song about going out. So even if we can't go out, we can sing about going out. And remember what it's like and what it will be like again. So it's a cover. Across the window hides the light, but nothing hides the color of the lights that blind. Electricity so fine. Look and dry your so tired of all the darkness in our lives, with no more angry words to say can calm our life. Get into a car and drive, stepping out tonight, stepping out into the night, into the light, you bet, stepping out into the night, into the light. We are young but getting old before our time. We'll leave the TV and the internet behind. Don't you know just what we'll find? Stepping out tonight, stepping out into the light, into the night, stepping out into the night, into the light, and you can dress in pink and blue just like a child, and in a yellow taxi turn to me and smile. We'll be there in just a while, stepping out tonight, stepping out into the night, into the light, me babe, stepping out into the night, into the light.
I just wanted to remind you of who we've still got to come on this festival. We're getting on for about halfway through now, but we've got Kris Drever from Laos. We've got Kerry Andrew making an emotional return to performing after being out with illness for nearly 2 years. We've got Jackie Morris, the wonderful co-author of the Lost Words book, painting an otter for us with Kris Drever accompanying her. We've got Rachel Newton, the harpist and fiddle player. We've got Nancy Kerr and James Fagan with their typical energy. We've got the legendary Peggy Seeger recording herself in her own front room. We've got Seth Lakeman. We've got Julie Fowlis in the Highlands. And we've got Steve Knightley in Topsham in Devon. All that is still to come. You can keep donating by going to folkonfoot.com/festival, or you can buy merch there. But I think it might be the case that Sam has got his daughter back to sleep. Let's see.
The moon shines bright, and the stars give a light. In a little while it will be day. The voice of love, it calls upon us all and bids us wake and pray. Arise, arise, away thee, arise, for life she is calling thee. For it might be the mothering of your sweet soul, if you open your eyes and see that the life of a man, it comes with little plan, it flourishes like a flower, as tender in the heart into which you're born, so cherish your every hour. For our time is not long, time's an old folk song, no longer can we stay. Those that remember say, blessed are you all who make it through this brawl, long life and another good year. Blessed are you all who answer to the call, long life and another good year. For the moon shines bright, and the stars give a height. Life she is calling thee. Arise, arise, awake thee, arise, and ever watch for thee.
I found there was something essentially meditative about listening to Sam singing in the dark of his beautiful room with the fire burning. So I came and sat down here and got into a bit of a mindset, a peaceful mindset. But we're going to pick up the pace a little bit now. We're going to hear some more wonderful guitar playing, more extraordinary guitar playing, as we head right to the far north of the country, to Shetland, to hear from Kris Drever of Laos.
I hope you're all doing okay, having a nice time out there. a nice time. Yeah. We've been thinking of some positives, you know, like it's massively inconvenient, it's economically ruinous for lots of people, but my boy is 4, so he goes to school after the summer, and there's, you know, I was feeling before all this started kind of I wasn't ready for him to go to school. I'm still not ready for him to go to school, he's just a little fella, you know, but it's kind of amazing to just have this, the whole world pressing pause, and to have this extra time with him, so I'm kind of trying to focus on some of those things, you know, those bits of this reality which are amazing, you know, and in some cases maybe even beyond our wildest dreams. The preposterous notion that we could all press stop on the massive neoliberal experiment would have seemed really unlikely 4 weeks ago. Eh? Anyway. This is a new song, which hopefully I'll get right. It's called Where the World is Thin. There's not enough room in the world to describe the distance I'd travel. How many steps from your bed before all these knots in my shoulders unravel? You can buy affection for gold, you can sell ideas for pounds and pence. There's much that's certain in this world, love's not obliged to make much sense. Ooh, that's what makes us spare. Ooh, where the world is thin. Down marble and sandstone halls, into the room where you're somehow still living. The likeness creates its own light, a slice of your spirit that won't give up giving. Some of us strive to achieve something that lives when we've moved on. Here's this beautiful death mask, the one that's yours has a crown of thorns. Ooh, that's what makes us spend. Ooh, where the world is thin. That's what makes us spend. Ooh, where the world is thin. Engraved and copper exposed in the dark room, painted or canvas or cast in bronze, caught forever in frames per second, perched on your head like the snare of a song. Ooh, that's what makes us spend. Ooh, where the world is thin. Ooh, that's what makes us spend. Ooh,
thanks very much to Kris Drever in Shetland. And he is, of course, one of the artists that were taking part in that wonderful project, the Lost Words Spell Songs, inspired by the beautiful book by Jackie Morris and Robert Macfarlane, The Lost Words, which is all about the nature words which were taken out of the Children's English Dictionary, words like acorn and adder and a bluebell and raven. And Robert Macfarlane wrote the words, and Jackie did these beautiful illustrations. And then they inspired a lot of the artists that you've heard here today to make a folk music project. And that project should have been on tour. They should have been playing gigs right now around the country. But one of the people who couldn't go on that tour, who played a big part in the original Spell Songs project, was Kerry Andrew, or You Are Wolf, as she's known when she's doing folk music. And she's been really ill. She's had chronic fatigue syndrome exacerbated by depression and anxiety, and she hasn't been able to perform since late 2018. But she has decided to perform for us today for the first time since 2018, which is just an amazing thing, and a sign that although she's not properly well, she is in some sort of recovery. And her husband says it's really heartwarming to hear her singing again. And she's chosen to do it in a very strange place in the block of flats where she lives. She'll explain more in a moment, but here, for the first time in nearly 2 years, here is Kerry Andrew. Wow, that was amazing to see Kerry singing again after 2 years and looking so positive, despite getting a bit emotional in the middle of that beautiful set. Thank you, Kerry, for joining us on the festival, and stay safe and get well soon. Just a reminder that you can continue to donate to our appeal. We're dividing the proceeds of today's festival between the charity Help Musicians UK, which supports musicians who are in really difficult financial circumstances, and the other half is going to go to the artists who are taking part in the festival who can't perform gigs anymore because of the lockdown. You can donate at folkonfoot.com/festival. That's folkonfoot.com/festival, where you'll also find our merch tent, where you can buy a festival t-shirt. Profits from that will also go to the crowdfunding appeal, or you can buy the merchandise, the CDs, the albums of the artists who are taking part. But while we're on the subject of the Lost Words Spell Songs tour, another person who's usually on that tour is Jackie Morris, who made the beautiful illustrations in the Lost Words book. And what she does in the tour, if you haven't seen it, is that she goes onto the stage and she creates a beautiful painting of two otters while Kris Drever and the other artists play alongside her. And she speaks the words of Robert Macfarlane's otter spell as she does so, conjuring the otter out of the paper. And I'm delighted to say that Jackie, who lives in Pembrokeshire in Wales, has agreed to create an otter for the Folk on Foot Front Room Festival. And she's going to do it in her studio, in her beautiful cosy cottage, which we visited when we recorded the podcast with her. And Kris Drever has recorded some special music. What we did was we filmed Jackie creating the otter, and then we sent the film to Kris Drever in Shetland, and he created some special music to go under it, and then we mixed the two together, and you are going to see the results of that now. A wonderful act of creativity. Here they are, Jackie Morris and Kris Drever.
Otter, from the Lost Words, by Robert Macfarlane and Jackie Morris. Otter enters river without falter, what a supple slider, out of halt and into water. This shape-shifter's a sheer breath-taker, a sure heart-stopper, but you'll only ever spot a shadow flutter, bubble skein, and never, almost never, actual otter. This swift swimmer's a silver miner. With trout its oar, it bores each black pool deep and deeper, delves up currents steep and steeper, turns the water inside out, then inside outer. Ever dreamed of being otter, that utter underwater thunderbolter, that shimmering twister? Run to the riverbank, otter dreamer, slip your skin and change your matter. Pour your outer being into otter, then enter now as otter, without falter, into water.
Isn't that beautiful? Thank you, Kris. Thank you, Jackie, for making that painting. And I'm delighted to say that Jackie has very kindly offered to donate the painting to the Folk on Foot Front Room Festival Fund. And if you would like to buy that unique work of art that she has created for us, just go to our virtual merch tent at folkonfoot.com/festival. It's not going to be cheap because it is a unique piece of art created specially for this occasion. The price is £1,500, But if you are feeling generous and you have that kind of money, then you could own something that you could be really proud to put on your wall and say it was created on this very special day for the Front Room Festival. Jackie, thank you so much for your generosity. In a moment, we're going to have another of the Lost Words Spell Songs artists, but let me just remind you that still to come, we have Nancy Kerr and James Fagan. We have the legendary Peggy Seeger. We have Seth Lakeman. We have Julie Fowlis. And we have Steve Knightley. You can't argue with that, can you? But now we're going to Glasgow, where she's got the harp out. It's Rachel Newton.
Thank you so much for tuning in and for donating. And yeah, it's just great to be here. This is my first ever online gig. And I was feeling strange about it at first, but now I can imagine you're a lovely audience. I can imagine you're there in your own front rooms. I hope you're having a good festival so far. This is my front room in Glasgow, and yeah, I'm going to start off with a song by the brilliant Gillian Welsh, fantastic singer and songwriter. I've been singing this song for years, and yeah, I thought I'd start off with it because, like many songs, I think, it's kind of got a bit of a new resonance, kind of with everything that's going on. So this is called Dear Someone.
I want to go all over the world and start living free. I know that there's somebody who is waiting for me. I'll build a boat steady and true as soon as it's done. I'm gonna sail along and I dream of my dear someone. One little star smiling tonight knows where you are. Stay, little star, steady and bright to guide me afar. Rush, little wind, over the deep, for now I've begun. Hurry and take me straight into the arms of my dear someone. Rush, little wind, over the deep, for now I've begun. Hurry and take me straight into the arms of my dear someone. I'm gonna sail along and I dream of my dear someone. blue jay morning, feathering thorny, memories sail home. Hearts have been too long away, on a well-worn byway, travelling magpie gathering, farewell queen of waters. Well, I should have sewed my cord, but I danced out to the door like an inch grasshoppering hail home. Hearts so long for the land. Oh, there must be better ways than to keep the debts at bay and whiskey trickling hail home. Hearts so long for the land. On a blue jay morning, feathering thorny, memories sail home. Hearts have been too long away, on a well-worn byway, travelling magpie gathering, farewell queen of waters. Summer bid our ship adieu. There's a mooring in the blue where the gulls are gathering hail home. Hearts that long for the land. Oh, she's like some Persian queen, and her like shall never be seen. Oh, in our reverie hail home. Hearts that long for the land. On a blue jay morning, feathering thorny, memories hail home. Hearts have been too long away, on a well-worn byway, travelling magpie gathering, farewell queen of waters. On a blue jay morning, feathering thorny, memories hail home. Hearts have been too long away, on a well-worn byway, travelling magpie gathering, farewell queen of waters.
Thank you. We're Nancy, Kerr and James Fagan, and it's been a pleasure to play for you today as part of this festival for Folk on Foot. Check out their podcast, support Folk on Foot forever, because they are fantastic. What should we do?
We thought we'd play you a couple of jigs. We've been enjoying playing these, and these date back to when we used to play Irish music on a Monday night at the Herschel Arms in Slough. Many really happy times, and so we'll play the I think it's the fairy jig. I always forget what the first one's called, but I learned it from the wonderful Paddy Blackin, and then the gold ring, which we used to love playing with our friend Alan Burton on uilleann pipes. So we'll leave you with these.
Thank you for listening.
Yeah, Devo.
such energy, don't they, Nancy, Kerr and James Fagan? Thank you very much, guys. That was absolutely fantastic. Now, what can I say about Peggy Seeger that hasn't already been said? She's a legend in folk music, connecting us back to the first folk revival of the 50s, 60s and 70s. She is still touring, still singing, still full of heart in her 80s. She lives in Iffley in Oxfordshire, and I have to tell you what she said to me when I first sent her an email asking her if she'd like to take part in this festival. She said, "Yes, let's get on with it before my hair gets too long." And then she said, "But that's my ego speaking." Typical Peggy Seeger remark. I think she had a bit of a struggle with the technology, but boy, did she crack it. Here's Peggy Seeger with a really powerful set from her front room.
Hello. Welcome to my house. I have to confess that I am terrified. I don't do selfies, and I've never made a video of myself. I wasn't even too sure where to aim this thing. Now, when I was about 6 or 7, we had a teacher that taught us how to chant the multiplication tables. You had to say them in rhythm with everybody else, which meant that you didn't have time to stop and think. You just had to just do it automatically. So you'd be doing 5 times 5 is 25, 5 times 6 is 30 with everybody. And I was convinced that the teacher could lip read because she knew when anybody was doing it wrong. But we're moving beyond that to the multiplication table in a song. And this is a lovely little banjo made by Ewan Catanach up in Scotland. It's nylon strings. So sing it with me if you can. 5 times 5 is 25, 5 times 6 is 30, 5 times 7 is 35, 5 times 8 is 40, 5 times 9 is 45, 5 times 10 is 50, 5 times 11 is 55, 5 times 12 is 60. Way down yonder in the maple swamp, the water's deep and muddy. There I spied pretty little miss, there I spied my honey. 5 times 5 is 25, 5 times 6 is 30, 5 times 7 is 35, 5 times 8 is 40, 5 times 9 is 45, 5 times 10 is 50, 5 times 11 is 55, 5 times 12 is 60. Now this time we're going to put every other one around backward. 5 times 5, 6 times 5. Take that little miss by her hand, lead her like she's a pigeon. Make her dance one more reel, scatter her religion. 5 times 5 is 25, 6 times 5 is 30, 5 times 7 is 35, 8 times 5 is 40, 5 times 9 is 45, 10 times 5 is 50, 5 times 11 is 55, 12 times 5 is 60. Next time, totally backwards. 12 times 5, 11 times 5. And if you think you can't do it, close your eyes, make a page, and read it off the page. Raccoon's out a chopping wood, Possum he's a hauling. My old dog's sitting on a log, splitting his throat a squalling. 12 times 5 is 60, 11 times 5 is 55, 10 times 5 is 50, 9 times 5 is 45, 8 times 5 is 40, 7 times 5 is 35, 6 times 5 is 30, 5 times 5 is 25. Now, it probably seemed hard to start with, but here you go, fast. 5 times 5 is 25, 5 times 6 is 30, 5 times 7 is 35, 5 times 8 is 40, 5 times 9 is 45, 5 times 10 is 50, 5 times 11 is 55, 5 times 12 is 60. I'm sure you probably have somewhere where you live, you will have a little bit of ground, a little bit of land. I'm having a little bit of trouble with the voice, so I'm putting a vocal zone in, and I'll probably have a bit of water. Don't forget to hydrate yourself. A little bit of ground, whether it's in a pot or maybe right next to where you park a car right in front of your house, or maybe a window box or something. Wherever there's ground, you can plant, and might be a good idea to do that. Of course, you're probably already doing that. And this is your granny teaching you to suck eggs. So here we have a gardening song. It's a little bit corny, but then that's what we like. Corny's an old word, by the way. It means kind of over-sentimental. It's called Inch by Inch. Inch by inch. By the way, I swore that I would tell you every key just in case you wanted to play along. Key of A. Inch by inch, row by row, gonna make this garden grow. All it takes is a rake and a hoe and a piece of fertile ground. Inch by inch, row by row, the sun will bless these seeds I sow. The earth will keep them safe below till the rain comes tumbling down. Pulling weeds, picking stones, we are made of dreams and bones. Feel the need to grow my own, and the time is close at hand. Grain for grain, sun and rain, find my place in nature's chain. Tune my body and my brain to the rhythm of the land. Inch by inch, row by row, gonna make this garden grow. All it takes is a rake and a hoe and a piece of fertile ground. Inch by inch, row by row, the sun will bless these seeds I sow. The earth will keep them safe below till the rain comes tumbling down. Plant the rows straight and long, sing a verse of nature's song. The earth will keep us safe and strong if we learn to love and share. Old crow watching hungrily from its perch in the maple tree. In my garden I'm as free as that feathered thief up there. Inch by inch, row by row, gonna make this garden grow. All it takes is a rake and a hoe and a piece of fertile ground. Inch by inch, row by row, the sun will bless these seeds I sow. The earth will keep them safe below till the rain comes tumbling down. Watch the days and weeks go by, the little leaves reach for the sky. Birds and bees and ants and flies visit night and day. The squirrel watches from the tree, the slugs and snails are bold and free. But there'll be something left for me when the weather's cold and grey. Inch by inch, row by row, gonna make this garden grow. All it takes is a rake and a hoe and a piece of fertile ground. Inch by inch, row by row, the sun will bless these seeds I sow. The earth will keep them safe below till the rain comes a-tumbling down. The earth will keep them safe below till the rain comes tumbling down. I don't think I sound American anymore, but I feel American, especially when I sing American songs. So if some of your family sitting around there are wondering what fertile ground is, that's what fertile ground is in America. And there's more fertile ground than we think that we have. It's all around us, and we can make it fertile in lots of ways, but certainly using it, if we have any of it near us. That doesn't mean going to the park and digging it up. And well, it would be a good idea to dig up some areas of the park. After all, if Michelle Obama can dig up the front garden of the White House, I suppose we can dig up something that's public here.
So we're in the home straight now of the Folk on Foot Front Room Festival. If you've been with us all these hours, thank you so much for staying with us. We have 3 magnificent artists left. We're going to hear from Julie Fowlis in Inverness. We're going to hear from Steve Knightley in Topsham in Devon. But first, his neighbour. Let's hear from Seth Lakeman at Dartmoor.
My wife's a nurse and she's very busy at Derriford at the moment. And I'd like to sing this song for her. A song I wrote a few years ago. It's called Silver Threads. From here I am growing old, silver threads among the gold will shine upon my brow today. And darling, you will ever be always young and fair to me. But time is fading so fast away. Every year that passes, you will be an evergreen etched against the sky. Every day that's granted for you and for me, a tangle and a twist of ivy twine, and life goes on. Hollow cheeks and steps too slow to the heart that beats below. Oh, take the breath you dream today. For every year that passes, you will be an elderberry nestled and entwined. Every day that's granted for you and for me, a final drink of rich and flowing wine, and life goes on.
So thank you so much for listening. I hope you've enjoyed these few songs, and thank you to Matthew Bannister. And the Folk on Foot podcast has been a really lovely idea. So many folk musicians and traditional musicians are, the music they play and the songs they sing are so rooted in the landscape. It's a lovely idea to go and interview them in the landscapes which inspire them and inform their writing and their traditions. So thanks, Matthew, for all your hard work and for championing folk music. And we'll finish off with
Dalbean.
Oh yeah. So these are 2 wee songs. Take my tartan breeks. Put tartan breeks on especially for the occasion. I'm not sure about anybody else, but in general terms, the standard of dressing has been getting a bit...
Speak for yourself.
So we thought we'd make an effort for today. So yeah, put on the tartan trousers, the tartan breeks. Although my oldest, when I came up the stairs with them on, she said that I looked like Flora MacDonald. And then my youngest after that said, or Ronald MacDonald. So anyway, the tartan breeks were for all of you
especially. So we'll finish off with these two wee tunes. This is Dolph Bean, or Sweet Voiced Donald, and the tune before that is a piece of mouth music called The Porridge Man. So just thinking, I hope I pressed record.
Porridge, we've done it and eat porridge for 2 weeks now.
I know, yeah. Wait for the next 2 weeks. Okay. Am brochen ich mor, hur vilsen jem brochen ich mor, schmach fertig am brochen ich mor, hur vilsen jem brochen ich mor, schmach fertig Guden half brochen it, skuden half vissen it, guden half brochen it, skude dishtimit, guden half brochen it, skuden half vissen it, guden half brochen it, skude dishtimit. So, yeah, thanks a million, and happy Easter Monday to you all, and sending love, and
take care.
Yeah,
look after yourselves.
Bye.
It always brings joy to my heart to hear Julie singing, and to see Julie and Éamon smiling at us from the Highlands really lifts my spirits, and it makes me reflect on the role of music in our lives in these really difficult and uncertain times. And as we feel anxious and we don't know what the future holds, you can find great solace in a beautiful piece of music performed by a talented player. And that's what we've heard in spades today. I hope you've enjoyed it as much as I have. It's just been so rewarding to connect with all this talent all over Britain. What an amazing day it's been. So thank you, first of all, to all the artists who've taken part in this festival. Thank you to you for watching, and thank you to you for giving us money and donating to the fund which will go to help musicians in hardship. Thank you to Jackie Morris for her beautiful otter painting, which is also raising money for that fund. Thank you to Ben Stevens of Mud Chutney, who has organised the T-shirts for us to add to the pile of money that we're raising. Thank you to our usual Folk on Foot producers, the highly talented Natalie Steed and Sally Spurring, and the Straw Bear, of course. Thank you to Paul Dunphy, who's made the promotional films. And thank you, above all, to Owen Ralph, who has just played an absolute blinder in the last couple of weeks in putting together all the technology that's behind what we've been doing and creating some of the visual identity. He is a star. Finally, I have to thank my beloved Kate. It means so much to me that you have been here with me, supporting me through this process. And we're going to leave you now with Steve Knightley of Show of Hands, who was actually the first person to record an episode of Folk on Foot. He very kindly offered to be a guinea pig, and he took me for a walk from Exmouth Beach up the X Trail to Topsham, where he lives. So let's go over to what I don't think is his front room, actually. It looks like actually a shed where his wife makes him go when he wants to play the guitar. So here's Steve.
I promise you warm nights, and I promise you long days, and I promise you summer twilight, and I promise you soft waves. But first, we must bear the winter. And I promised you blue sky. And I promise you the rolling moors. And I promise you a barefoot sunrise. I promised you the open doors. But first we must bear the winter. And the rain and the gales and the frost and the hail are the hard biting nails of winter. Promise you, we'll watch the waves roll in on Sidmouth seafront. I promise you, we'll hear the sound of a distant ceilidh drifting across the summer's grass of a festival. And I promise you, the sound of fiddles, accordions and melodies, people singing in the distance. I promise you, but first we must bear the winter. So, I hope you're clapping somewhere. It's a bit odd. It's a bit like one particular folk club Phil and I played in, where nobody came, and a lot of pubs where, if Phil was here today, he would be saying now, uh-oh, poetry alert. There's some words of William Blake that I thought would be lovely to recite, and I use the quattro as its accompaniment. What is the price of experience? I recited this on the recent tour at Bush Hall in London, and I said I didn't know the provenance of this particular piece of poetry. Somebody in the front row did. They were the chairman of the William Blake Society. So they were able to tell me. What is the price of experience? Do men buy it for a song, or wisdom for a dance in the street? No, it's brought with the price of all a man hath, his house, his wife, his children. Wisdom is sold in the desolate marketplace where none come to buy, and in the withered field where the farmer ploughs for bread in vain. It's an easy thing to triumph in the summer sun and in the vintage, and to sing on the wagon loaded with corn. It's an easy thing to talk of patience to the afflicted, to speak the laws of prudence to the houseless wanderer, to hear the hungry ravens cry in wintry season, when the red blood is filled with wine and the marrow of lambs. It's an easy thing to laugh at wrathful elements, to hear a dog howl at the wintry door, and the ox in the slaughterhouse moan. To see a God on every wind and a blessing on every blast. To hear sounds of love in the thunderstorm that destroys our enemy's house. To rejoice in the blight that covers his fields and the sickness that cuts off his children. While our olive and vine run laughing round our door, and our children bring fruit and flowers. Then the dollar and the groan are quite forgotten, and the captive in chains, and the poor in prison, and the slave grinding at the mill, and the soldier in the field where the shattered bone is laid in groaning among the happier dead. It's an easy thing to triumph in the tents of prosperity. Thus would I sing and thus rejoice, but it's not so for me. So what to finish with? Well, my tour finished on March the 16th in Colchester on a Monday night, and when we arrived, Jamie and I, the venue was just in the process of being shut down, and they weren't sure whether the show was going to run. But about 90 people turned up, and Jamie recorded the set. And this is the last song from that night, the actual version. This is live. I brought it back and I sent it off to Jolyon Holroyd, who put these images to it. So this is moving away from me in my little room now to what I think would be a nice way of finishing the set, called You'll Get By. And my thoughts in particular and all my love go out to Miranda and her family at this time, and to all of you. You'll get by. So thanks again for tuning in. Thanks to Matt. Thanks for all the musicians that are playing. And I'll leave you with this one. You'll get by.
So you build a life together, and it's shattered to the core.
once again you're gathering up the pieces. The ship has come untethered, drifting free once more, and the ever-raging storm never ceases. Summon up your strength and lean upon the oar, and I'll send you a dove, so strike out for the shore. You'll get by, you always do, for the wind that shakes the barley never touches you. Come on, sister, brother, don't you cry. You don't know it now, but you'll get by. Your best is not accepted, your cries for help unheard, while all around unkindness gets rewarded. All the hopes and plans rejected, and you're forced to join the herd, while cynical indifference is applauded. You have walked this road before, you can walk it once again. Why should it break you now? 'Cause it didn't break you then. You'll get by, you always do. And the wind that shakes the barley never touches you. Come on, sister, brother, don't you cry. You don't know it now, but you'll get by. You are bruised but unbroken, you are bloodied but unbound, unsteady on your feet, but still standing. It's not the fame or the fortune, it's not the rapture of the crowd. You are fighting for respect and understanding. So castle walls are falling and thieves are at the gate. They will take away our rights and our choices. False prophets are calling, singing out hymns of hate, to silence the land with siren voices. Oh, the bully and the braggart, let's drag them from their thrones. We don't need those savage songs, 'cause we're loud enough alone. You'll get by, you always do. For the wind that shakes the barley never touches you. Come on, sister, brother, don't you cry. You don't know it now, you don't know it now, you don't know it now, but you'll get by. You don't know it now, you'll get by.